dive bomber and grasped a .30 caliber machine gun to shoot at a Japanese bomber bearing down upon the ship. His heroic initiative earned him aircrew status, and after the Battle of Midway, a terrible fate at the hands of his captors. In a once boisterous ready room, Torpedo Squadron 6 had been briefed for its disastrous date with glory on June 4, 1942. 14 Douglas Devastators had rumbled off the deck to attack the Japanese fleet threatening Midway. 4 returned, one so badly shot up that it was pushed overboard. Portside aft was the landing signal officer's platform, where a darkly handsome lieutenant had delivered a virtuoso performance, bringing aboard plane after plane onto the increasingly crowded deck after bomb damage on October 26, 1942. In the Combat Information Center, specially trained officers and men had conducted the first generation of electronic warfare. Tracking phosphors on radar screens, they had conducted electronic triage, naming various blips as friendlies, bogies, and hostiles, taking appropriate action for each. In the forward elevator well, a Japanese pilot had plunged his Zero on May 14, 1945, killing himself and a dozen sailors and ending the Big E's combat career. But all that was in the past now, fast disappearing in the memory of a nation bursting with excitement over the dawning space age, hula hoops, and television. Disposal of the ship, expected to take 18 months, was placed in the hands of a master executioner. W. Henry Hoffman was a man of the sea. He had seen combat with the Kaiser's Navy in the Great War, sailed in the Norwegian Merchant Marine, had taken himself to America, where he demonstrated an intuitive grasp of engineering. Becoming a foreman on the New York subway system, he then returned to his nautical roots by joining Lipset. By 1958, Hoffman had dismantled 3 battleships and the luxury liner Normandy. With that extensive background, he brought to the task at hand an appreciation for the history inherent to every ship. His feelings for USS Enterprise were evident in the way he documented her destruction. Hoffman carefully recorded the process with 150 photographs, showing the phased reduction from a recognizable warship into 20,000 tons of scrap metal. In 1959, before the project was finished, Hoffman donated the carrier's stern plate, bearing her name, to the nearby township of Rivervale, New Jersey. Meanwhile, the process continued. The wooden flight deck was smashed to splinters by air hammers, permitting access to the cavernous hangar deck below. After the 3 aircraft elevators were cut up, work began dismantling the structure. It was a tricky job, as removing 8 by 40-foot steel slabs affected the ship's balance, and Lipset devoutedly wished to avoid capsizing the hulk. Alternately, large chunks of the bow and stern were severed, working toward the middle. Occasionally, partial flooding of the hull preserved Enterprise's trim. 50-ton gantry cranes hoisted each slab sliced from the hull as the process continued day by day, month by month. Where high-powered aircraft engines once had revved up, spinning 3-bladed propellers, where anti-aircraft guns had shattered and boomed at inbound attackers, another cacophony erupted. The hull was crisscrossed with air lines for pneumatic hammers that raised a din while oxyacetylene torches gushed and sparked as they bit into tempered steel. Enterprise's flight deck of Douglas fir was burned. Some profit was realized by stripping out miles of copper wiring and burning off the insulation so the base materials could be recycled. Each of the 4 shafts and propellers weighed nearly 40 tons, but even with the weight of the superstructure gone, they remained underwater. Divers cut slits in the shafts that weakened their integrity, and when they fell of their own weight, they were lifted out by huge gantries. That was the last major chore. All that remained was the dismembered center hull. The task was finished in May 1960, when the keel was dragged ashore. There, the Big E's structural spine was severed into manageable pieces and hauled away. Ironically, considering her history, much of the steel was sold to companies in Japan. Lipset had purchased Enterprise for $561,333. It was a fraction of the $20 million she had cost the American taxpayer 20 years before, but by 1958 that was the value of her 20,000 tons of steel, aluminum, copper, rubber, asbestos, wood, and assorted other materials. In 1942, she had been priceless. During the Second World War, the U.S. Navy recognized 41 Pacific battles, or campaigns. Enterprise was involved in 20, a record unmatched by any other ship. The cruiser San Francisco, CA-30.